Hi guys, today I want to talk about our indignation towards injustice and our ministry and us as ministers of reconciliation. So, Second Corinthians 5:18 says, "All this is from God, and who through Christ reconciled us to himself and gave us the ministry of reconciliation." So, I'm seeing this more commonly now, no, since I became a counselor. That there are times when we see an injustice, maybe towards ourselves or to other people, and we get so angry about it. The anger about the injustice is unbearable. It puts us off balance. Have you experienced that? Na parang unfair to, dapat hindi to nangyayari. This is unfair, this should not be happening. Right? And I'm talking to myself then about this. Sometimes there are people that we are meant to pray or intercede to be reconciled to God, but instead we feel so much anger and disappointment and frustration about that person. It is usually, a loved one or a group of people or someone that you're just so annoyed at. I think one perfect example is Jonah, Prophet Jonah's assignment, right? He seemed to be annoyed with Nineveh's people, and that was assigned to him. So if you're in the prophetic or you're an intercessor, I think one good example for us, model for us, is Moses. As an intercessor, you have access to God's heart, the Father's heart. And you sometimes have access to wrath, to anger towards injustice. Sometimes this could be a possible reason why you're so angry with injustice. Maybe because you're also feeling God's anger towards it. Or sometimes maybe it's connected to a past trauma, or it's just your anger. You're really very angry with what happened. But the point is, we as intercessors or prophetic people, our goal is to access the other side of God's heart, which is his desire to give mercy, his desire to reconcile us to him. That's why he brought Jesus here, to reconcile us to him, right? We are given the privilege to access sometimes the Lord's anger towards injustice, but also the Lord's mercy. So as an intercessor, you have the power to call out God's mercy towards someone. And a lot of times, me included, you don't want to pray for God's mercy for a person because you yourself are annoyed with that person or with that group of person or with something, with the situation. This is a test of the heart, just like in Prophet Jonah's case. Are you going to call out God's wrath over a group of people, or are you going to call out God's mercy over Nineveh? Moses got this. Moses is called the friend of God. Exodus 33:11 says that, "So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face as a man speaks to his friend." Moses knew how to attend to the Father's heart. He knew that God is angry. But at the same time, he also knew that the Lord is merciful. He's angry, but it's also merciful. He's angry, but he also would be embarrassing himself if he killed the Israelites, after pulling them out of slavery in Egypt. He was not stuck with wrath or anger towards Israelites because he knew his role. His role is to attend to the heart of God. So Moses know how to attend to the heart of God. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you are annoyed with a group of person, if you feel some form of indignation over an injustice or something that is out of order, It could be that God is sharing to you his heart over this issue or over this person. Anger's purpose is to correct, one of anger's purpose is to correct something that is wrong. So you have to have energy to correct that, right? It's hard to correct someone when you have low energy, and if you're very calm. So there has to be a force to correct something wrong. But again, we have to remember that we are ministers of reconciliation. So more than being wrathful over that person or over that system or over that person, our job is to call out God's mercy, intercede in behalf of that mercy, so that our ministry of reconciliation happens. Pray for that system, pray for that person, pray for that group of person to be reconciled to wisdom, reconciled to God, and be aligned to his will. I'm saying this because a lot of me myself, when I was younger, I was trapped in the wrath portion, and no one told me that I am called to reconcile. No one told me that I have access not just to God's wrath, but also to God's mercy, to God's compassion. So I should have been calling that, Lord, have a mercy over these people, have compassion over these people, remember the plans you have for them, align them in your plans, in your timing, have mercy on their errors, stuff like that. Just like Moses, that's what he did. He took care of God's interest. He took care of God's reputation. So compared to Prophet Jonah, I think Moses got this. So there, I hope this made sense. And there, my point is that we cannot be stuck with hating people, hating institutions, and hating a group of people. Our main job is to reconcile people to God. So always seek for guidance, for the ever-present guidance of the Holy Spirit. But usually this is our identity, and this is the principle of intercession. It's calling out God's mercy and reconciling that person towards God instead of hating them or cursing them. Right? So that's it. Thank you for listening, and hope you learned something here. Have a great day.